Hi everyone, Dr. Omi from Posturesize. Today we're going to be talking about developing your personal training career by finding your niche. And having trained personal trainers over the last 30 years and helped many of them get into business and build great careers for themselves, I can tell you there's no greater niche than getting into functional and corrective exercise. Hope you enjoy. So if you're thinking about starting your personal training career, I invite you to think about a couple of things. Number one, what is going to separate you from the rest of the personal trainers? Are you just going to learn some generic exercises such as how to squat, bench, deadlift, how to perform a CrossFit workout, how to perform a high-intensity boot camp to lose weight? That's all well and fine, but what you'll find out is the general public when it comes to fitness is constantly changing from one exercise mode to another. How do I know? I've been in the personal training business for over 30 years. I've certified and helped teach many personal trainers on their way to building successful businesses. One of the best things that you can invest in when you first start your career is putting an emphasis on learning a niche in personal training. If you can stand out and have an area of specialization, it's going to set you apart from the remainder of the personal trainers. You're going to get more referrals, people's eyes are going to open, and the clients that come to you are going to stay with you longer because they appreciate your greater value in terms of what you're giving them as a service. The best niche to get into for personal training, in my opinion, having had this experience over the years with other trainers as well as my own practice, is the niche of corrective exercise and functional training. Here's why. Most trainers, when they train their clients in generic exercises, miss typical postural, joint stability, and muscle imbalance faults. Someone who understands and has a great knowledge of corrective exercise and functional training will almost always be able to tell when a new client comes to them from a different personal trainer, their form errors right from the beginning. These form errors may be slight. It may be as little as holding your shoulder differently in the socket. You have an anterior slippage of the upper arm. It may be a tilted scapula. It may be a translation of the rib cage that you're doing when you're squatting. It could be a lack of VMO usage when you're lunging on your kneecap, or a slight discrepancy in the hip joint as you squat or perform deadlifts where you're not utilizing one glute muscle more than another. These slight transparencies in training that most trainers don't pick up on are essential for, number one, avoiding injury, and number two, maximizing sports performance. Many times you're going to start a personal training business and you're going to eventually hit a lull because that client is going to become injured. It turns out that most injuries when it comes to personal training are related to poor mechanics, either with what the client is doing at home, at sports outside of your personal training, or even worse yet, in your personal training session. If you can identify what mechanical errors are related to what biomechanical issues that the client has, what muscular imbalances they have, what lack of joint stabilization they have, you're on your way to really developing a great personal training business and career because you can identify these slight discrepancies, teach the corrections to your client, and use these corrections in a functional paradigm in terms of your training programming so you can bring the client from whatever abilities they have presently to higher and higher, more complicated abilities that challenge their issues in terms of mechanics, posture, movement tendencies, and bring them into greater and greater levels of conditioning. Sports performance is a hot buzzword in personal training, whether you're dealing with youth, whether you're dealing with competitive high school or college athletes, or beyond. Many times, personal trainers lack the education in a real fine-tooth combed analysis and assessment of their clients' biomechanics. By using a good corrective exercise assessment and then plugging in corrective exercises and learning how to transpose that into the client's unique sport that they want to participate in, you many times can increase the stabilization of joint and the firing pattern and the usage of prime movers to create greater force production. One thing we know about athletics is the greater the force we have in most instances, the greater stability we have in terms of our core and joint stabilization, the better the output, the better the sport will be executed, and you're going to actually increase sports performance. Now, there are a lot of different opportunities out there for you to learn about functional and corrective exercises, and I invite you to look in as many sources as possible. But the one we teach here at Posturesize is particularly a great one because it uses a lot of complicated knowledge and distills it down into a program of learning that's very neat, that's very tight, that gives you a big bang for a limited amount of investment in your time. So you're taking out a lot of the extra stuff you don't need, but focusing on the assessment, the exercise modifications, and the programming that you do need to make the biggest impact with your personal training clients in the shortest period of time. We go over the deep assessment of not only mechanics, posture, movement tendencies of the ankle, the knee, the hip, the lower back, the shoulder, the elbow and the wrist, the cervical spine or the neck, but also how to view these particular mechanical problems and muscle imbalance and joint stability issues into your client's possible injuries or pain conditions. Problems such as torn meniscuses in the knee, disc herniations, arthritis, fibromyalgia problems, cervical or neck facet syndromes, shoulder, tendonitis, bursitis, impingement syndromes, knee entrapment problems, patellofemoral syndromes are all addressed in a systematic approach in terms of learning your assessment for the particular body region, how that integrates with the rest of the kinetic chain, and how we put that together in a very simple corrective exercise way to get that client back into exercising the right way and making the greatest gains in the least period of time. So when it comes to improving your personal training career, getting off on the right track, take a moment, take some time, think about developing a niche for yourself. In our opinion here at Poshasize, the greatest niche that you can get into is functional and corrective exercise. So to help you carve out your niche in successful personal training, we have 3 different programs here at Poshasize. 1, the Essential Crash Course for personal trainers that'll teach you how to deal with client injuries and pain conditions. And 2 and 3, the Qualified and Certified Poshasize training programs. You can get more detailed information on all of those programs and courses at the Poshasize.com website. I hope this video on carving out your niche in personal training careers helps you with your personal training business.